All right, let's jump right in. This is a wild story, and believe it or not, it doesn't kick off with spies and secret agents. Nope, it starts with something you see every day, a utility truck. So, the source material we're digging into today really wants us to ponder that. What if that crew isn't who they say they are? And it all centers on a very specific incident, one that allegedly happened on August 11th, 2025. So, picture this, a quiet suburb in Katy, Texas. An easy fiber crew rolls up with heavy equipment to work on a water main. Seems normal, right? Well, according to the source we're examining, this was anything but random maintenance. It's presented as the final move in a really fast, very targeted operation.
Okay, so what triggered this whole thing? Why this house on this day? Well, the material we're looking at claims that to understand the why, you have to look at what went down in the 24 hours right before that truck even pulled up. And here's the timeline they lay out. It's pretty tight. On the afternoon of August 10th, a text goes out to a man they claim is a Venezuelan operative, Eduardo Hurtado. The message is blunt. Your cover is blown. Then, that same evening, a really weird legal-sounding text comes in from a woman named Penelope Suarez, a figure the source calls a honey trap. And bam, the very next morning, 8:45 a.m., that easy fiber crew is at the front door of the guy who sent the first text. It's presented as a direct cause and effect situation, a digital warning shot followed by a very real, very physical response. And this is where it gets even stranger. The supervisor of the utility crew allegedly says this, almost as an aside. And thank God we don't need to go to the utility easement on the back of your property today. Now, in the context of this source, that's not just some offhand comment about their work order. No way. It's framed as a carefully chosen, veiled threat, a message being sent loud and clear. So this naturally leads to the question, who are these people? Let's take a closer look at the alleged network on the ground there in Katy, starting with the guy who supposedly got that cover is blown text. Okay, so meet Eduardo Hurtado. Publicly, he's the owner of a corporate security consulting firm right there in Katy. Seems legit. But the allegation here is that this is just a front. The claim is he's actually a high-level commander for SIBIN, which is Venezuelan intelligence. And his house, it's supposedly a financial leaf node, a key point for distributing money. And you got to appreciate the alleged irony here. This is a guy who gives public presentations on how to avoid being kidnapped. Now, how important is this guy really? Well, the source uses its own proprietary metric to rank people and places, something they call a paramilitary score. And Hurtado's house gets a score of, wait for it, 3.5 million. According to their system, that number is huge. It signifies that this suburban Texas home is a location of major strategic importance. And if you're thinking, okay, 3.5 million, what does that even mean? Well, check out this comparison they make. They put that score up against the score for the compound of Diosdado in Caracas. The man they claim is the mastermind behind the whole thing. His score? 2.6 million. So, yeah, according to their own analytics, the house in Katy, Texas is considered more strategically valuable than the big boss's own compound. That's a pretty bold claim, which, of course, takes us up the chain of command. We have to look at who is allegedly pulling the strings from Caracas, the supposed architects of this entire operation. The name that comes up as the mastermind is Diosdado. Now, he's widely seen as the second most powerful man in Venezuela. They call him the octopus because his influence is said to be everywhere. And this isn't just speculation from the source. This is a guy who is under U.S. sanctions for some really serious stuff. Narcoterrorism, money laundering, corruption. The U.S. Department of State even has a multi-million-dollar reward out for his conviction. And here's where the source we're looking at tries to connect the dots with established facts. They point to official U.S. Treasury documents, specifically from OFAC. These documents have already established a pattern. They show Cabello allegedly using a primary frontman, the term is testaferro, and a whole bunch of shell companies based in Florida to hold his U.S. assets. So the argument being made is, look, there's already a precedent for this. What we're claiming is happening in Katy isn't new, it's just a new location for an old playbook. So let's talk about the agency at the center of all this, SIBIN. It's the Bolivarian National Intelligence Service. The source material is very clear. You shouldn't think of this as a typical spy agency like the CIA or MI6. No, they describe it as the government's political police force. And that's not just their take. The UN has accused SIBIN of committing crimes against humanity specifically to crush political dissent. Okay, so how does an operation like this actually work day to day? How do you hide in plain sight? Well, the source gives us a really detailed case study, and it centers on, of all things, a hugely popular local sports club.
Yeah, you heard that right. Pickleball Katy. I mean, on the surface, it's a modern, popular sports complex. It's for families, it's trendy, it's pickleball. But the core allegation here is that this business has two identities. There's the public one we all see, and then there's the alleged secret one, a clandestine meeting spot and operational hub for 7 intelligence operatives. But why Katy, Texas? Why not Miami or New York? Well, there's a reason the area is sometimes nicknamed Katie's Wela. It's home to one of the largest Venezuelan diaspora communities in the entire U.S. We're talking maybe 35 to 40,000 people. And crucially, it's a known center for very vocal, very organized political opposition to the government in Venezuela. So from an intelligence perspective, this is perfect. It gives you what the source calls a permissive operating environment. You've got your targets, the dissidents, and you've got the perfect cover to operate right inside a bustling community full of restaurants, clubs, and, well, pickleball courts. Okay, this is the point where you have to ask the big question, right? A utility truck, a pickleball court. This all sounds pretty wild. How is the source making these claims? What's the methodology behind these extraordinary allegations? The answer, according to them, lies in a proprietary technology they call the Spy Hell pipeline. The claim is that the system analyzes markers from a leaked operational database. So they're saying they have inside data, and their pipelines sift through it to identify and map out this whole global network of agents and their assets. They break down their analytical process into 4 steps. Step 1, score the assets. That's where those paramilitary scores we talked about come from. Step 2, find markers. They look for what they call prominence markers hidden in public data. Step 3, detect tactics. This is where they say they can spot things like deliberate typos in official records. And finally, step 4, build the map. They take all these little breadcrumbs and connect the dots to reveal the alleged network. And this is really the heart of their whole methodology. They are arguing that things we would all dismiss as totally random are in fact not random at all. They're coded signals, hidden in plain sight. So a street name with the word diamond in it, or a phrase like Lake Estates, a company name like Easy, an address that ends in a 0 or a 5, even a specific typo in a public record, like Ginter Lane becoming Glinter Lane. The claim is these are all deliberate markers, a secret language for those in the know. So when you put it all together, when you connect all these claims, you're left with a pretty unsettling picture. The core allegation is that the most mundane, everyday parts of a community, your utility company, the local sports club, maybe even the HOA, are being weaponized, that they're being used as tools for a foreign intelligence service. And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. We live in a world that is just flooded with data, right? It's everywhere. The source material we've just explored makes a case for one very specific, hidden story. But it does make you wonder, in a world of endless data, what other stories are out there, hiding in plain sight?